And now I am glad to present Professor Franz Ulberth, Institute for Reference Materials and Measurements, Joint Research Center of European Commission. He will speak about reference materials and measurements of the quality infrastructure in Europe and beyond. Beyond it is in Israel, yeah? Go ahead.
Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me to Israel and giving me the opportunity to present the institution I'm working for. I'm Franz Ulberth. I'm head of food safety and quality at the Institute for Reference Materials and Measurements, which is a part of the European Commission. I'm going to explain that to you in a while. You might ask why a guy heading a food safety division talks about metrology. Well, it's an applied case of metrology, but I can reassure you, before heading this division of the Institute, I worked for reference materials, and the reference materials are probably the best way for disseminating traceability. What do we produce in our institute? We produce measurement data. And if we do not quality assure our measurement data, they are more or less worthless. Because today, no one can afford to measure just out of academic interest or just out of fun. Nowadays, decisions are taken on the basis of measurement data. And if your data are flawed, your decisions are certainly not correct. What do we support? And I've tried to capture that in three keywords. We support metrology, standardization, and accreditation. But first, before really going into the subject, please give me a couple of minutes to explain who we are and what we do. The Joint Research Center is one of the Directorate Generals in European Commission. We report to Commissioner Potočnik, who oversees the science and research portfolio, and two DGs report to Commissioner Potočnik. One is the JRC, the institution I'm working for, and the other one is Research DG. And the whole Commission is headed, as you know, by President Barroso. The JRC is made up of 7 institutes, and we are distributed over 5 member states. The IRMM, this is the organization I'm working for, is located close to Brussels, but we have also institutes in the Netherlands. This is the Institute for Energy in Petten. We have in Germany the Institute for Trans-Uranium Elements, customer-driven science and technical support to the European policymaker. This is what we are supposed to do. You might ask yourself, why an own research center for the European Commission? Because we can act out free of any national or commercial interest, so we give neutral advice to the policymaker. This is the big advantage of the organization. Free from commercial influences, free from national interest. And that's our motto. And we found our motto so appealing that in a way we registered it as a trademark. It's the RMM, confidence in measurements. So we wish to promote the common and reliable European measurement system in support to EU policies. And what we try to do is we try to make quality assurance tool to make them available, to develop them and make them available to everyone in Europe and certainly beyond Europe. If you're interested, please, well, it's not a little bit difficult to read, please check out on our website, which is full of quite useful information. I already alluded to that we do not do measurements just out of an academic interest and just out of fun. Millions of measurements are carried out every day in Europe and beyond Europe on a global scale. And many of them are in direct relation to European legislation. So I've tried to capture a few questions which come up when we talk about measurements and legislation. The risk manager needs measurements simply to decide whether to allow, say, a shipment of peanuts into one of the European ports. Before this shipment is not tested for the presence of mycotoxins, of aflatoxins, it cannot enter the community. The industrial operators are very much interested in sound measurements. Of course, they wish to know, are we controlled by competent authorities? But probably more important is, can I trust in the certificate of analysis of my trading partner? Or do I have to go to the laboratory and repeat everything, which, of course, creates a cost? And then the citizen is very much interested in finding out, is the food I daily consume, is it safe? Is there someone who takes control of it, measures the level of contamination, of residues, whatever it is? And certainly you have seen such a sketch quite often. But we use it to define what we call the quality infrastructure. And this is related to the measurement sciences. I have to make that very, very clear. And the three pillars are: one, metrology, which should ensure that measurements are comparable by referencing them to internationally accepted standards. Then, accreditation, which is necessary to make sure that in the individual measurement laboratories, certain practices, good standard practices, are followed. And then standardization, to provide validated measurement methods to the end users. Standardization is carried out by international standardization organizations, but also by professional associations, like the AOSC or AOCS, and there are a number of professional trade organizations. And altogether, this quality infrastructure should ensure that, and I'm talking about, of course, of Europe, that European legislation is implemented in the member states in a harmonized and effective way. It should also allow that we have a functioning European internal market, so it fosters and promotes trade, and it also increases thereby the competitiveness of the European economy. I mean, we have very ambitious goals, and that can only be done in cooperation. And by the simple fact that our 7 institutes are distributed over 5 different member states, you can already see that we have to be a networked organization, and we are a highly networked organization within the European research area. We operate a number of community reference laboratories. We cooperate with the field laboratories of the European Environment Agency, and we cooperate with customs laboratories. And we provide them with a number of services.